Good evening, guys. Happy Monday. Happy freaking Monday. We are back again, guys. It's NK1 Show with your boy, Brada Nxewu. Badla kajulu masebenza shikhobe nzinza 2 kabulalele nqenqe amadede qikiza amadede ngamanqe wagximisa amaqoqa jika nqaba. We are here, guys, on NK1 Show. It's Monday, and the time is 2 minutes past 9. Bafethu. Please do come in, guys, with numbers. Please, guys, whenever you tune in on NK1 Show, guys, make sure, guys, you do the honest, invite people. Namhlanje sikhuluma nge-topic ejule kakhulu. Namhlanje siyajula bafethu. We will be speaking and discussing about depression and anxiety disorder. We are hosting our brother Lucky Brooth. He will be here in any time. So, guys, please do share the live, extend the invitation, guys. Mention people. Let us help lives, guys. Share the live. Let's go. I'm still trying to link my brother up so that he can run live. Okay, I'm adding. Share the live, guys. Mention people. Okay, I can see. Please request again, Lucky. Request again, my bro. I saw your invite here.
Finally, we're here.
Finally. How are you, bro?
I'm alright. How are you, man?
All good. No complaints, man. No complaints.
When you think you've mastered technology and then it shows you flame in the very last minute. I thought it would just be simple to just join you on the live, but I was looking for an invite. I couldn't find any. Are you well, though?
No, man, I'm good, man. No complaints. Thank you for being here, man.
Yeah, I know. No problem, Papa. No problem.
Once again, guys, we greet everyone who's in. Please, guys, do share the live and invite people. It's either you press the share button or you just mention people that you need to watch. We don't show up by yourself, but also bring people. So we urge you guys, and we please bring people, invite more people. As you saw, guys, I shared a post last week, and a lot of people who interacted, a lot of people who have been touched by this thing. As in so we have a very, very high number of people who are killing themselves, people who are in problems, who need help through this thing. So today we brought Lucky, who will come and help us talk about these things, discuss about these things. So guys, please do come through. Mr. Lucky, my bro, formal greetings, introduce yourself to people who's also was
Okay. So good evening to everyone, the listeners, nabalandela uhlelo. Lucky, igama Lucky, also known as Lucky Mtoro, Lucky Brooth. I work for Department of Health, but today I'll be representing myself, not the department. I've got expertise in pharmaceutical care, so I've been trained by Roads University, and I'm currently finishing up my master's in public health with EUKZN.
Wow. Wow, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much, my brother. Once again, first to say for your time, for accepting the invite to be with us. Lana sizokhuluma ngalolu daba olujule kangaka. First, esibona la ukuthi eSouth Africa there is very, very high rates of people who are killing themselves through depression and anxiety disorder. There are a lot of people who are going through this, and sithole ukuthi abantu abalitholi usizo olufanele, because some of them, they just have this thing and they don't know ukuthi ama-step ekumele bawathathe ukuze bathole usizo. So hopefully, and we know, we have faith ukuthi namhlanje there are a lot of people, there are a lot of lives that are going to be changed through this show yanamhlanje. So mfethu, mangase nje mhlawumbe siqale our session without waste of any time, because we only have 1 hour. Mangase sikhulume mhlawumbe ngikubuza ukuthi how can we define depression and anxiety? What is depression? Mhlawumbe ngizozama ukuthi imibuzo le ngihlukanise ngayihlanganisi, because depression and anxiety are two different things. But mase ngikubuza ukuthi what is depression?
Okay. You know, depression igama esisetshenziswa abantu abaningi isikhathi esiningi. You find even a young person will let I'm depressed. So it's not really easy to self-diagnose besides what the symptoms are. So depression, it's a serious term. It may be more common now because we are now more prone on seeing people committing suicide, but it's a mental disorder. So when you talk of a mental disorder, you talk about the brain issues. So most people tend to confuse the term depression with the sadness. You know, being sad, it's different. Being depressed, it's different. So when you're now being sad for a longer period of time, now that can link up to depression. Whereas sadness, you can be sad now due to reaction to a situation and environmental factors of war and then you'd feel sad. 3 hours later, you'll be able to adjust on a new environment and your mood will be elevated. But when it comes to depression, because it got to do with your brain and your mental thinking, you become depressed over a longest time. Even the things that used to interest you before, then you're no longer interested in them. Let's make an example which is more common. You find with abantu, if they are nyama, they're more happy.
Yeah.
When it will not interest you anymore. You'll find those who like to watch soccer would see, if I'm watching my team, then I'm happy, and you'll not be happy anymore. You know, so now that's a part of depression. But if you look at anxiety, just a few minutes. Rafi. Sorry about that. So when you look at the anxiety, the best, simplest way that I can explain to someone else is anxiety is more of a panic attack. So it associates got characters of someone panicking. It can be due to different factors. One can say, like today you have a public speaking speech. You need to go deliver a speech. That feeling, that minor stroke that you have, that will give you that is anxiety. So now you cannot really link these two, but some people can be depressed and they can have anxiety at the same time. Now it can be due to different factors as the show goes on. Now, how do you identify this too? Because you'll find what someone do as a specialist, sometimes you have to counsel a patient, they will present two symptoms of the anxiety on the other side due to a history yakhe and the depression on the other side.
Mm. So depression yona idalwa yini, because it's anxiety, the way you explain it, so it's kusobala ukuthi ukucabanga kakhulu, so there are a lot of things ezenzakalayo empilweni esigcine sisenza ukuthi sicabange kakhulu yabo. So i-depression yona idalwa yini?
Okay, let's start with the most common ones and the most so obvious ones is number one, abuse. So when you talk of abuse, it's more broad. It cannot only be physical abuse. We can talk of mental abuse, sometimes verbal abuse. You know, if ngithuka wena ngithi awuyilutho wena awuna ingane or wena wisdom, those things, they will affect your mental thinking because uzozibona useless in life. Those can link up to depression. The age, there's more publication which was done by University of Botswana not long ago. I think it was last year, August, which also mentioned there's a linkage of age. The young adults are more depressed more than the middle age, whereas the seniors, which we regard as elders, they are even more severely depressed. So if I can just recap you up while I'm still talking of the age, you would see in South Africa, in South Africa, the entire population, I was just preparing for the show, would see 9.8 of the total population is depressed. 9.8%. So for someone who's not used to maths, will say 9.8 is such a small figure. We are roughly 55 million in South Africa, combining all ethnic groups. So if you talk of 9.8, we are talking of 5.3 million people who are on clinical depression. Not being said, clinical depression. So that will mean, if you can recall on what I said, depression is, it's prolonged lower mood swings, like you're feeling sad throughout. Second one is itching. As much as there is no scientific data as well, if you are taking certain genes in your genotype data, then you are likely to be depressed. It just goes like, if you have someone who's depressed in your family, in your family tree, you are most likely to be depressed too. And now we are starting to see more of those things because now there is social media, people post, you get to know. These things have been there for ages. Just that people are not, they were not more open about it. So we can just praise each generation, man, you would actually, they're coming out. They're coming out depression, as much as some we are not able to help them. So that's bonus so late, but I like the fact that everyone is just opening up and say, I am depressed. This is not sadness. I've been fighting this demon for the past 12 months. It's getting worse. Another one can be, I mentioned age, I mentioned abused, the personality as well. You know, there are people who we call introverts and extroverts, but sometimes the introvert, they can go to a certain extent, they will feel sorry for themselves. Let me make an example of someone who's always quiet. Someone who's claustrophobic. Akafuna ukuba abantu abaningi, ufuna ukuhlala yedwa and nahlale ezibhekela phansi. So i-personality yakhe vele does not really involve ama-extramural activities. Akafuna ukuparticipate enkonzweni ibandla, noma efikile esontweni uzohlala le ekhoneni le. So those people are more prone to be on depression as well. So you start seeing up those characteristics again. And also major events, if mhlambe kini kushila umuzi, or maybe kungenile abantu babulawa endaweni, or maybe usanda kubona abantu abashonile, you'll have the sadness of that period. But if that thing plays around your brain for the longest time, that can lead you to depression. So there's quite that question was, I'll regard the question as more pregnant, because you cannot have a direct point to say, if I'm doing this, this will cause the depression. Of late, there's a lot of trigger factors that cause depression. As you could see, there is a research that is ongoing, which basically links a small screen, our cell phone, being the major cause of depression. One will debate it and say, actually, the cell phones that we have, they are more helping people to connect, to see what actually depression can be overcome. But you find with cell phone are actually the major link of depression, especially if you don't have a good support structure on your side, because that's where you see people living the best life, even if they are faking it. But you tend to look at yourself, look at the people you grew up with. Some they having cars now, you have no car. When your life is not going forward, you start looking down on yourself, and then depression
Mm.
start kicking in. You even wish at some point, if, we're going there, but at some point, some will even decide to say, you know what, I'm deleting all the social platform. I don't want to socialize with anyone. That's when you know it's okay. It's starting. Get close to that person.
Mm. To the point you just mentioned now, indaba yokuthi seeing your age group people bephumelela and when you're not. Ngithe, when I speak to a lot of people who are suffering from depression, I found out ukuthi most yabo indaba iqala la khona sebecabanga khona kakhulu when they seeing abantu abaku-age group yabo bephumelela bona bengaphumeleli, and when they start like doing things, trying their best nabo ukuthi baphumelele, but always get ama-disappointment from failures, from the things that abazama ukuthi bazenze nabo ukuze baphumelele, and then they ending up becabanga kakhulu mase beba ne-depression because bakwi-pressure yokuthi babona abantu baphumelela left and right and bona abaphumeleli. So I also found that izolo, I think it was yesterday or day before yesterday, I heard one guy owakhona nje la Adams was saying ukuthi yena into yamlimaza kakhulu into adlule kuzona, but into eyavele yamlimaza kakhulu yamenza secabanga nezinto eziningi nezinto nje ezindala nepast. But the main thing yamenza ukuthi nje agcine secabanga kakhulu about depressed is because webona abangani bakhe abantu ayifunda nabo, abantu akhule nabo, they are all prospering, but yena there's nothing happening. So yeah, end up lento libimudla ngaphakathi wagcina se-depressed, yabo.
Yeah. So and then you'll see what's comparison yakhe basense kakhulu. Which source was it? You find what it was, the social platform. You know. I always say to people that I talk to, Wuti, there's nothing wrong to compare because it can wake you up at some point. Which you know what, maybe you're too relaxed. But at some point you need to put a reality check to say, where do you come from? You as a person, do you really want to be like them? There's a lot of successful people there who don't post. If they post this so but depressed so because we'll be worried. But actually for the past 5 years I haven't done anything. Some people they are married right now. Some all those things because we are too harsh on ourselves. We are forgetting to live life. We have targets. I'm 23 right now. I need to have maybe a qualification at the age of 23. I'm 26. Or something. You are forgetting to just live your moment. You'll never be young again. If you have to go camping, go camping. Go camping. Just live the moment. Whatever comes by, fit on your happy lane. Maybe one of the reasons of seeing so much divorce coming up, as much as it's a topic for another day, because people have targets. It's good to have a short-term and a long-term goal, but the target sometimes we are pushing them so hard, so we feel like actually I am achieving in life, but whereas we are forgetting to just live the moment, live life. You are awake today, be happy, you're breathing out, connect with nature, spread positive energy, forget about who qualified, who's graduating now, who's not graduating. Be happy for them, but live your life. Just enjoy life. We are forgetting that it's a social media. We don't blame it. We're seeing people checking out my 5-star hotel, and you look at yourself. You can't even afford your B&B in your home area. It's a comparison in a negative way, but we don't see it in a positive way to say, now let's challenge. If they are saying in Asia a 19-year-old just obtain a PhD, how? A 19-year-old, how can I do it like that? If I'm 45 now and I want to get PhD, how can I do it? You know, those are the things that we should be investing ourselves more on compared to comparison in a negative way. Ukuthi I'm looking at Brada, Kuzana, ukuthi show yakhe hamba kanjani, and mine only have one view, which means I'm bad, you know, and it's not like that.
Yo, awesome, so awesome. Guys, please, we greet everyone about figure. We are speaking about depression and don't be scared, guys. Don't be shy to mention those people, or else just share the life. Please just press the share button. Ngoba into esikhuluma ngayo ibaluleke kakhulu, and guys, it's going to help a lot of people. So like there are people who are depressed, but esingakwazi ukubona ukuthi those people are depressed because in front of people, or they don't show they are depressed. But sometimes we are born and izinto abayibhalayo noma izinto abayipostayo ukuthi these people, there's something wrong with them, and then these things always hit them mabebodwa emakhaya. They don't talk about it, but in front, in a crowd, you won't see ukuthi lo muntu lo is depressed, because sometimes bona umuntu eseyibulala sithi hawu uSpanman ngoba ube right bengakhulumi ngani, uyabo. What do you think yini ekhoza le nto ukuthi kube khona abantu when they are depressed bangakhulumi, but ba pretend phambi kwethu ukuthi they are happy, and ngeke ubone ngisho nokubona ukuthi ba pretend, because the way they are doing it, they're so good in it, you will say ukuthi they are happy and everything is just good. Omunye umtholo ngoba eseyibulala noma sekwenzeka something ukuthi hayibo usibanibani bengekho right, yini yenze ukuthi mhlawumbe abantu benze kanjani?
Okay, so you know, people who are depressed, they are good at what we call positionality. They're very good at positionality. Remember, number one, they feel so hopeless. There's hopelessness into the clinical characteristics of a depression. First of all, they don't want to bother anyone. So they don't want to bother anyone in such a way that they have acknowledged the fact that there's something wrong about them, but they feel like, I don't want my garbage to be your garbage. I think it's too much. I'll make you feel I'm happy to see you happy. Okay. Now, you remember the dark cloud of South Africa in 2018, where like most Shopi Mahapa died in 2018. She committed suicide. She used to add to Ashes and intersection. She used to come on SAPC 1 around 8:30. She committed suicide at the age of 34. No one knew. She was happy, successful. You're seeing her on TV. She's posting on Instagram now and then. You're like, why did she kill herself? We all remember WHP again, who died in 2018 at the age of 38. You know, I think her last post was, I'm depressed and I'm running out of control. And then she committed suicide. That was 2018. You think she's the guy is successful, he's got recording studios, recording deals, you know, like you go on gigs. What else do you want? We have Kensani Maseko. Kensani Maseko, by the way, we're coming from the same school. So it really hit home talking about Kensani. Kensani was 23 years. She also committed suicide in 2018 at the age of 23 because she was raped by a boyfriend. Yeah, okay. And the other one, the most famous one, was Christopher Kupek, who committed suicide at the age of 48. I want you to follow the pattern of the age. I said 34, 38, 23. Now I'm on 48. Kupeka, why upazuga, yizo, and is it zone 14? Yeah. He was found hanging with Beklakad. When was this? In 2017. So all these people are people who think they have it all. Now, can you imagine if you're an entertainer? You need to be happy each and every time you get into a situation, you get to a gig, you need to be happy, make everyone happy. But you're forgetting about yourself. That's exactly what happened to people with the depression. They'll want to push themselves so hard to to elevate their mood, because imood yabi pants for the longest time ihleli phansi imood yabo. They can't just ngathini ingqondo yabo I adjust to the situation ukuthi you need to be happy now. This is what used to make you happy. You've lost interest in all those things, but you want to be a good pretender. I'm happy for you. I'm happy. They'll forever be smiling, but when they are alone, they are so tired from all the pretending of the entire day, and then they start breaking down. They start breaking down uncontrollably, and then you'll call them just to check that person who's depressed. Would hey, so quite since the event, are you okay? The answer you'll get there,
Yeah.
I am more than fine. I am good. Once you hang off the phone, I break it down. Like they're happy with everyone. It's because they are good pretenders in such a way that they want to share their baggage as your baggage, because positionality yabo they by the time they come to an event, so they have understand with me I have so many problems, and I don't want to make my problems your problems, of which it's where the problem starts.
Mm, mm, mm. Yo.
So why once you're saying your problems are too much and you don't want to share them with anyone, you start feeling what you know what, because I don't want to cause any pain to everyone. Maybe the best way is just to end my life, so no one would have to go through what I'm going through. And
Mm.
what is most disappointing also is to find those people who are strong. Let's say in your group of five, from your chain of friends, you have that one guy who will give you guys advices. Whether financial advice or relationship advice. When he's down and he's trying to show up some sign, would say, guys, actually I need help. You guys will take
Yeah.
it lightly because they, you know what, maybe it's the right time to practice what you preach. Like you are good at this. You give us all those advices. You find with that person, akanayo umuntu azoba weak again.
Yeah.
And they think now umuntu azoba weak again at that particular situation. They take off their life just
Mm.
like that,
Mm.
which is a sad thing. Which is a sad thing.
Yeah. So, Lana, my brother, I just want to go through to some comments from people who
Yeah.
are suffering from depression and anxiety disorder. I have this girl. I just won't mention names, but ngiyengambona ukhona like live. Uthi I can say it's loss of hope. I'm personally dealing with hopeless, and some days are just worse and very, very bad. The constant thoughts create anxiety, especially when you are hopeful for something and it doesn't pull through. The recurring cycle of hoping and failing creates feelings of worthlessness, and it's not intentional to feel like nothing will ever go right for you. It's just the ongoing cycle that breaks your spirit. It's like life. It's like every time your hope is broken, you fall deeper than the last time. Reset, or hope deeper makes the heart sick, but a dream fulfilled is a tree of life. And she quoted Proverbs chapter 13 verse 12. So, kule statement, what can you say? I think it's a very same thing, the one I've mentioned, when you try your all means to do things and then things just don't work out. It's always failure and disappointment, and then it's ending making you ucabanga kakhulu, and then yeah.
Ukuthi depression, because it's a clinical condition, it's a clinical mental condition, can be classified into a good category where we can see the statements are sasisi and classified actually when are you fit in this puzzle as compared to general stress. Now, there's quite a variety of categories got depression, but I'll just talk of the most common ones, 6 most common ones. There is severe depression, where there's an intense and overwhelming feelings of sadness and hopelessness, for like you feel so down. So severe depression. There is mild, which means okay, it's fine. Well, you're feeling hopeless and worthless in a way. And then there is severe depression with psychotic. Now for umuntu olalele ongazi ukuthi when we talk of psychotic or psychosis sikhuluma ngani, sikhuluma about that small element of disconnecting with the reality. Mhlawumbe sothi sihleli nawe uzozwa bekumemeza, whereas no one, akekho umuntu okumemezayo. So one part of depression is that. So you are depressed and you feel like khona umuntu okubiza ngeinhlambi engaka la, and you are quiet and you trying to ignore that. Uyamuzwa uyakuthuka, it associated with that. Omunye can be you are depressed but you have a replay of the scenario into eyenzekile kuwena. Let's say umuntu ohlukumezekile mhlambe ngesikhathi bethuka belala naye ngenkani, constantly back of the head there's a replay of that movie, and you're depressed, and the more uba more agitated, uba more angry, and the more eba now what we call it I don't care attitude. Now I've mentioned 3 so far. It's severe depression, which is overwhelming of sadness and hopelessness. I mentioned mild to moderate. I've mentioned severe with psychotic. The other one is a bipolar depression. Now, for umuntu ukuthi when we talk of bipolar, what are we talking about? Bi means two, just like in bicycle, two. So that means now if you have bipolar, we have 2 mood swings who are rushing to be extremely expressed at the same time. So you'll find one person if you are happy, right now I don't want to talk to anyone. And then small things, and I expect everyone to adjust. And I'm ready to fight. And I'm so happy. In 20 minutes, I'm so happy. So now, the time what we call it, mood, it's depressed, it's low. It can link up to depression, especially if it's happening for the longest time. So now, and the 2 ones and recurrent depressive disorder, meaning it comes and then for duration of time and then it goes. So you'll find ukuthi mhlambe wena kunesimo esenzeka kuwe noma mhlambe kwashona abantu ngale ikhathi zale nyanga, mhlambe the entire month of uMarch nje awuzizwa kahle, imood yakhe low, noma ubadla chocolate noma uthola imbali noma uyakuphi, still those things don't excite you as compared to around September, around March, you enjoy going out with everyone. And the other one, which is the last one, is dysthenia. Now this is a chronic depression. Now we talk of this condition has been with you for a minimum of 2 years. So more than 2 years you've been feeling the same, and you've been trying to adjust with your daily life activities, still nothing shows to improve. Basically when you are good to sell pants because nothing is worth it. So one would say there's high level of procrastination, there's high levels of fatigue, and now that will go with long-term depression. So now Usisi mentioned she's feeling hopelessness, she's feeling weightless, but mind there is a trigger of anxiety because mecabanga ngefuture kwayena uyapanic. So now the panic attack yenzakalayo. Remember we said we're separating these 2. One patient may present these 2 cases. When they're being diagnosed, they'll be diagnosed separately. Now, depression is a clinical condition as mentioned. We need to know is we need to know your signs and symptoms, and we'll be able to help that person through with this cancer, especially umuntu clinical background. And then those who have a clinical background, they'll be able to start having a pattern of questions. Okay, no, seems to be a depression with psychotic, or no, this one seems to go with the bipolar. So my question must trigger and go like this in order to make sure I get so much information from a patient, and we must him counselor backing him advisor says. So you will not really advise umuntu on a bipolar uthi maybe the best way to deal with the depression go to ebumnandini. Because what's going to happen, everyone is happy and will expect everyone to maintain the same spirit. And what if the mood swing la panishincha fast and then goes to sadness and then uzokhala and then spoil party for everyone, So yes, statements as you see, there is a link of anxiety there. And if I think the last line before I mentioned a verse, If you can read that last line again one more time.
Hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a dream fulfilled is a tree of life.
You see, that's the thing. You see, there is an element of also of showing a progress. So good see, we as born good actually if well, there is a hope. But just it now, it's this constant panic attack that I'm getting. You'll recall good anxiety. I mentioned good anxiety goes with panic attack, fast beats, heart rate, due to too much, and overthinking, which is very important. That needs to be highlighted. That overthinking can lead to anxiety, and in the long term can lead to depression as well. So ngenze ukuthi unomzwangedwa ngedwa most of the time, and umehleli yedwa acabange all the negative things in particular. Abuke zonke negative things. It can be due to environment yakhe as well. Maybe izinto sezashow again. Maybe you are not worth it. You are worth it. Maybe izinto ake azama naye zafeyila, and then bese bona ukuthi okay, this goes in line with into eshow abantu. I'm worth ngathini. There's nothing good about me. There's nothing good that I touch. And then depression ilinke kanjalo, especially mawuzohlala nalo for the longest time. Now into ezike zenziwe wosisi, well, indlela abadalwa ngayo abantu besifazane, there's a guy who explained it to me ukuthi why abantu besifazane benamabele, because isifuba, so they'll carry so much secret of umndeni. But abanye abantu besifazane by nature, they're not people who talk out openly. So abanye, especially if they've been through so much, especially relationship wise, uthola ukuthi une relationship after 2 years iphele iqale end, those people, they tend to hold so much because they don't want to just reveal, and then you go talk about them elsewhere. So those people, they tend to hold so much, and then if your bag is full, you break down alone without really having someone where you just offload. That's why we encourage by all means to say, you know what, even if you don't seek a professional therapy, of which it's what we recommend most of the time, but have someone to say, let's catch up. What's happening with your life? Tell me what's new, what's bad. That small means so much into your brain daily functioning.
Wow. This is awesome, my brother. And I have the second one. I am always anxious, which qualifies me to be suffering from anxiety. Although I have never consulted about it, I know it exists. I am always afraid of losing people, losing an opportunity, and losing myself. I am also afraid of a lot of things, so I always want to perfect what I do. I am also very, very impatient and easily angered and reactionary, easily angered and reactionary. Lately, I have been feeling anxious, feeling like a failure, and have way to feeling like a failure, and have way too much on my plate, and that seems to be the only solution. But I have always raised above these feelings through prayer. Also, challenge is I can't go to God in the middle of this episode. But I am taking it one day at a time.
Yabona lo usenze lento esathiwa self-diagnosis. U-aware of this condition, and use-acceptile sikhona, because siwamentioned wonke ama-characteristics of anxiety, of which they are correct, 110% correct. Impatientness. Yabona umuntu impatient, number one, ungamthethisi. Try and underline the cause, which actually why you're feeling this way. So right now, utata step by step. There is if we go to the pharmaceutical field, there are pills that we give those patients to calm them down. Jobana day by day. Sorry about that. So if it starts day by day, it calms the person down. Relax, not to rush izinto. Normally umuntu one-anxiety into ufuna ukuyenza iphele manje ukuthi idlule, I want to get over this thing and done. Well, there is a fewer cases of people with anxiety who commit suicide. It's usually on the depression side. However, it doesn't rule out ukuthi omunye umuntu hates feeling anxious. They hate that. Like kwakokoza ikati ngale, let's say you once had a break in your house. So if lonto ihlala kuwena for the longest time, ikati la uyisizitsha ngale, your heart rate will start beating fast in such a way that you won't even be able to sleep at night. Now it will go for longest time, That's one I can say from experience. I once had people who came to break in our house, and unfortunately I woke up bare corner. But that stayed with me in such a way that till now my heartbeat is abnormal compared to someone else. So it's been there throughout like that. So I fully understand. There's nothing much to really add to Siso post or forget that comment, because useyenzile awareness around the positionality yakho ukuthi, listen, I'm feeling this way, and it's very difficult. I'm taking it day at a time. What I can recommend kulo sisi lo ukuthi, there is actually more than just taking day at a time. Maybe your life will be much simpler if you can also get some pharmaceutical intervention, natural products, nothing huge, something that you can get without doctor's prescription, which are calmness, and then they will calm you down.
So, do we have medication in depression? Because I was asking myself, because there is something. I think the Kuluma family member has depression. How do they work? Because I feel like if depression is not something that's physically, but I'm a thing supplements are.
Okay. So before we get to epilepsy, because we need to understand the functioning of the brain, because if depression, that's where it mostly affects. It's the thinking, the brain. So if brain, it's like,
let's cut you. Why is fashion dialogue? Because I think it's linked to what she's saying. Uti, I have a close family member who has severe depression, and when he takes his medical, he gets to be okay for a little while, but he's always in and out of hospital, wishing he can die anytime soon. Tired of living, says he has no life, he has no friends, he has no friends, and people don't get him because he's an outcast. And then I remember ukuthi ngimbuzile ukuthi ngabe unabo yini abantu akhuluma nabo noma who tries like to understand him. And then if I can recall, uthe I don't think he has people because ukhule kubo be strict, so I think ubengakwazi ukuphuma umuntu uphuma esikoleni aye ekhaya straight, bevalele bengakwazi ukuvakashela abangani bengavakashela. So indaba uthe yaqala lapho ukuthi azabe abe nje, but is a person who always feel like an outcast, umuntu ocabanga ukuthi abantu abam-understandi. So indaba yakhe iqale ngokuthi he grew up in a very, very strict home, la obebuya esikoleni khona ekhaya engenzi lutho njengezinye iy'ngane.
yazi, ushaya khona, siqale ngalo omdala lo wemithi, imithi ekhaya. I'll first explain the point of medication and how it works to the human body, the physiology part, and also explain inkinga kapot. So number one, think of it, the simplest way that I can explain to someone who's not in the clinical field is, think of imoto. Imoto have the engine, imoto have what we call computer box, meaning yonke into kagesi need to correspond with the computer box. So meaning if mina ngiclicka igear ngithi siya indicator manje, there must be a signal that goes straight to the computer box, itshele ama-light uja manje siya indicators indicate. So when someone is depressed, we have all these trigger factors as means umuntu ebe happy, but ezingamenzi ebe happy anymore, meaning I'm changing the gear to indicate, but the computer box is not accepting the indicator. I'm forever not indicating, but the engine is still driving, the car is still going, meaning you're still living your life, but you're not functioning normally. So let me explain that in a simpler terms one more time. Uguti, you have a TV and you have a remote. The TV is playing, but it's a channel that you don't like to watch, but you want to watch the channel that makes you happy. You're pressing the button, it's not responding to TV. So now we have what we call hormone of pleasures, which is a dopamine hormones, and we have happy hormone, which we call serotonin hormones. So those hormones can be modified. ukuthi if njengamanje you are sad, if I inject you with a happy hormone, you'll be happy. So now because siyayazi ukuthi inkinga ikuphi, which hormones make